If only I had Spidey senses, so I can tell when something's wrong. Oh, and I'm set to protect this heart from breaking into pieces. Where's my hammer? Where's the shield? All the strength to carry the weight of the world. Fly high into the sky. I'll catch you if you fall. I'll catch you if you fall. Fly high into the sky. I'll catch you if you fall. I'll catch you if you fall.
Now, here's your host, DJ Host with the Most.
What's going on, everybody, and welcome to the latest episode of Snap Decisions. I am your Snap DJ, your host with the most. And I'm coming to you on what is today? Wednesday. So not too bad. But yesterday was a rough night because yours truly had an old man thing happen, and I slid going after my dog in the kitchen. So I happened to, we keep our water bowl in there, and we have a little mat underneath it, like a gel kind of a thing that keeps the floor from getting the water on it and stuff. And we have a towel down too that kind of sops up the water. And, you know, when she drinks, the water goes out there. And usually we change that, you know, quite often and stuff like that. And I guess we've just been busy. We forgot to change the towel. So the towel is probably sopping wet. And basically, I had left I left the door open in the kitchen, and I know the dog was in there. So I ran in to try to stop her from going out, which she didn't anyway. And when I ran in there, I had Crocs on at the time, and there was water all over the floor, and I slid on the water, and it was like sliding on ice. So basically my 2 feet went out from under me, and I literally landed straight on my hip, and my back was not fun, and I was in some major pain yesterday. I didn't know what was going to happen. My left foot, because it feels as if it's sprained today. I might have pushed my toe like backwards when I landed, which I'm sure I did, because I can't really bend my left toe now. So yeah, so not a great night. And I had planned on doing this last night, but after that I was like, nope, I had to just ice everything. And so I couldn't do what I wanted to do. But anyway, I'm here, and we've got a lot to go over. I just put out the agenda a little bit ago. So we will get to that. But anyway, I hope your day is going better than mine has. The last couple of days here, it's been crazy cold for this time of year. I mean, I know I've said this about this before on this show, but man, am I sick of this weather. It's crazy. Like there's like 5 states or 6 states that are getting 2 feet of snow today, which is insane. I mean, there's some places like Colorado, yeah, they're used to that kind of thing. They get a lot of that. And California and their mountainous areas gets a lot of snow even at this time of the year. But this is just, it's just ridiculous. Like it's, you know, one day it's 70, it's beautiful. It feels like summer. I mean, we got up to close to 90 last week, which is insane. And then now we're back down into the 20s. Like it's just too much. And for someone like me who's starting to deal with some arthritis and stuff in my knees, that's about as bad as you can get. It just like going up and down like that constantly just destroys like really makes that act up. And it's, oh man, I just wish it would level out. Like this time of year, yeah, listen, I don't want 90s. It's way too early for that. But it's supposed to be like 50s, 60s around this time of the year now, not 20s and 30s. It is just awful. And it's just terrible to deal with. I just hope that it starts to just figure itself out. I heard that it's that stupid polar vortex that's coming down and all that kind of stuff. And that just goes to show you, like, our environment is a mess. And you know, the fact that that's happening and stuff is probably not good, because that's all stuff that's coming down from the north, and, you know, probably things that we shouldn't be having happen, and it's happening. And so, you know, it's probably our doing, unfortunately, that's doing this kind of stuff. So it's just crazy. And also, I mean, they can't predict the weather really good anymore because of our wonderful president making the decision to stop a lot of the weather satellites that normally end up figuring that stuff out and predicting storms and stuff, like cutting the funding to that department. So that's wonderful. Yeah, but anyway, I'm not gonna get into that. That's for a whole different podcast and a whole different channel. So I'm not getting into that stuff. I'm getting a drink today is ginger ale. Diet ginger ale. I've always been a ginger ale fan. It's kind of an acquired taste, but I've always liked it. Ever since I was a kid, I was always a fan of ginger ale. And that's the thing, when your parents would think that you weren't feeling well and you had like a stomach ache or something, my mom would always have ginger ale in the house. To give you when your stomach was bothering you. And I know it probably didn't do anything, right? Like, it doesn't like maybe years ago, ginger ale was probably made with real ginger. It's not anymore. It's just a flavor of it. And, you know, so maybe that was a remedy for like my parents and their parents. Because ginger, I think, is supposed to help with stomach aches and stuff like that. But I definitely don't think. Let me read this bottle now. I'm curious. I doubt it's made with real ginger. Carbonated water, malic acid, natural flavor, potassium citrate, aspartame. Yeah, no, there's no ginger in that. I didn't think so. But that's probably where it came from, is probably your parents. They have all those remedies. I'm sure you guys all have special little things and remedies that your parents used to give to you when you were sick. I can even remember, and this is funny, because we didn't just have a medicine cabinet. We had a medicine closet. My mom had like all the medicine, like in my bedroom was where the bathroom was. And there was a little closet in there that kind of faced the bathroom. That was part of the bathroom. That's where my mom would keep the towels and all that kind of stuff, and washcloths, but she also kept all the medicine in there. And I remember one time I was going in there and going through like stuff. I was probably about maybe 8 or 9, maybe 10, I don't know. But I was going through the stuff and I see this bottle of cola syrup. Now, I loved cola too, right? So I see this bottle of cola syrup and I'm like, So I opened it up, I smelled it. It smelled just like soda, right? It smelled just like Coca-Cola. And then I go in there, and then I'm like, okay, I've got to try this stuff. So I open it up, the bottle, and I taste it. And I'm like, oh my God, this tastes just like flat soda. Like, this is amazing. And so I would take a little sip, and I knew I wasn't probably supposed to, because I figured it was probably for something medicinal. So I took a little sip, and then it got to be, a thing. Then when I knew it was in there, I'd be going in there, and then I'd take another little sip. And I think finally I ended up finishing the whole damn thing, because it was like this. But then, of course, I'm trying it thinking that maybe it's going to make me sick or something like that I shouldn't be drinking it because it's medicine. But here it was that's all it was. It was literally just cola syrup. It was like what you would make cola with. But again, that was one of the things that parents would keep in the closet for like stomach ache. It would be like a remedy with cola. Now, who knows why you would use cola syrup as a remedy for stomach ache? I have no idea. No idea. But these were some of the old time things that they used to use, maybe to settle your stomach if you're bothered by a stomach ache or something. Who knows? Probably, like I said, probably did nothing, because there was so much like sugar in that it probably didn't matter one way or another. But anyway, I digress. Let us look at our agenda for today's show. Now, I can tell you that this is going to be a fun one because there's gonna be an opening segment here that's going to have a lot of things that I want to go over. And so here's what it is. So we're going to start off with the meta problem. Why is it taking so long to address? We're going to start off with that. Then we got the best 2 cost card in Snap, which many of you voted for, and it's going to be interesting to see who wins that because there was a lot of good ones. And then we'll look at some Datamines, which we haven't done in a while, but we'll look at the Daredevil season Datamines. Daredevil, by the way, Daredevil Born Again is awesome. If you are not watching that, you are missing out. One of the best Marvel shows in quite some time. And just to give a little spoiler, well, no. No, I won't. But just to, it's been awesome. It's really, really been good. I think there's only a couple episodes left, and then it goes into that Punisher one-shot special that comes right after, the week right after that. And then, of course, that it maybe leads into Spiderman. Who knows? But check out Daredevil. It's going to be, and I'm excited for the season because it looks like we're finally getting some different cards and stuff like that. But does it change the meta? I don't know. We got an OTA coming up. Hopefully that's what does it. We'll see. Then we're going to go to In a Snap. Of course, it's my weekend game. I've been playing some Infinite Ladder. I'll tell you where I am with that. Then we're going to go to Comics Corner. We're going to talk about Archangel and Polaris, whatever they're going to have on them, because these horsemen don't have a lot of comic book reference because they're really only in one story and the comic books, maybe a couple others, but we'll see what's there anyway. And then we'll talk about my comic book picks of the week. Superman Spiderman came out today. That is the first one of those crossovers with those 2 characters since the giant size Superman Spider-Man comic that I got back in 1976. I think that's the year anyway, that I still own, by the way. One of my favorite books as a kid. I was enamored with it. So much so that I remember taking tracing paper and tracing the comic cover and all that kind of stuff. I used to do a lot of that. I used to get tracing paper and I used to trace stuff that I liked a lot and just go over it. It made me feel like I was actually drawing it, I guess, which was cool. But anyway, we'll talk about my book picks of the week. Then we're going to go to a minute at the movies. A lot of stuff going on. A lot. We have Spider-Man Brand New Day news. We have Doomsday news in San Diego Comic-Con. We have Clayface. The trailer came out today, and it certainly is body horror. They said it was going to be, and boy, is it ever. We have some Endgame news and why you may need to go see it if you weren't planning on. I know most people that are fans of the movies probably is going to go see it anyway, but especially for like the post credits. But now it came out, I think it was Joe or Anthony Russo that kind of said we need to go see it. So there you go. Star Wars news. We got Mando and Grogu coming out, and the Maul series is almost over. That's been tremendous. The Maul series has been tremendous. Also, they had Jon Favreau talking about Mando Season 4 and what happened with it, why it didn't occur on TV, and what it was supposed to lead into. Then we're going to talk about, like I said, San Diego Comic-Con is coming, talk about that. Then we'll go into, we have some X-Men news. We also have some Mark Ruffalo spoilers. Oh, man. Mark Ruffalo and Tom Holland are the worst. They're the worst. And Mark Ruffalo may have given away something that he wasn't supposed to today. So we'll get into that. And then we'll go into Pixel Perspective. We'll talk about some gaming stuff. That Marvel Collection came out. So we'll talk about some gaming stuff, and that is where we will end it up. So we're going to get into the first part of the show. Right, so let's get into the topic at hand. I saw a post from Safety Blade. Of course, Safety, one of the best players in the game, and great person, great guy. I had him on my show a while back, but he posts a lot about the game and his thoughts and stuff like that. And I saw him post a deck for the new card that we just got yesterday, so Polaris. And what did he show that he had in his deck was basically a StarLord deck. with some toxic stuff thrown in it. And he did it to try to prove a point. And the reason that he did is because he wanted to show that no matter what you try to play or try to use, it's got to have StarLord in it, or else you just can't compete. You are not going to be able to compete in this meta. You're just not. So, and I would agree. All I've been seeing lately, now I've been playing ladder. I got to about 87, which is the highest I've gotten in a while. I've been completely disenchanted with playing ladder. Completely disenchanted with it. I just have no desire to play it, because of all this stuff that's going on. And with the meta, with these cards and things like that, I just have no desire whatsoever to play it. So I, and this is a big part of the reason why I went over, usually when I'm disenchanted with the meta, I go over to Conquest just to play the game. So I went over there. What am I seeing in there? And again, improving grounds. And this drives me nuts. Look, I get it. Anybody's going to play what they want to play. They're paying money for the game. I understand it. Okay. But what I don't get, and I never did, is Proving Grounds is a place to practice decks. And that's really what it should be. There should be no reason. And then this is my opinion. People don't have to share my opinion. People don't even have to listen to my opinion or like my opinion. But it's my opinion because this is my show, and that's it. My opinion is, in Proving Grounds, again, it's such a stupid part of that game. I could see the higher one, silver, gold, platinum in there. Okay, fine. But in Proving Grounds, what are you doing? Playing a StarLord or Xiao or Fin Fang Foom deck? What are you doing? What is that? Like I said, whatever. Everybody's different in this world, and that's what makes the world go round. I get it. Okay. But do I have to like it? No. And the StarLord card, the Fin Fang Foom card, and Xiao Lao, I don't see nearly as much. And usually when you see that deck, you can recognize it pretty easily because you're going to see them play a Scarlet Spider. And you kind of know what's coming, right? And you're either going to be able to beat it or you're not. And if you can't, you just get out. StarLord needs to go. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. People, again, that play the card a lot and stuff like that, they're trying to argue with me on my Twitter about it and saying, well, it's not so bad. No, it is bad. Safety proved it. If you can take that card and stick it in any kind of a deck, no matter what it is, and all of a sudden you're winning with that deck, the card is overpowered. The card is overpowered. And I told everybody this. The little bit of adjustment they made to it is not going to do it. Points of power off of that card and off of Fin Fang Foom are not going to cut it. That is not what the problem is. That is not, they put a Band-Aid on it. And I can tell you why they did it. They put a Band-Aid on it because at that point in time it was the season pass. So they're not going to want to lose money on the season passes. So when they do this and they make these overpowered cards, the season pass is out there for everybody to buy it. And of course, look, I'm no card designer. I'm no game designer, but I have been in retail my entire career just about. I know a lot about sales. I know enough to know why they're doing what they're doing. It's not rocket science. And nobody has to be a retail manager for as long as I have been to figure it out. They're trying to sell season passes. So what are they doing? They're making cards that are overpowered to entice people to buy the season pass. That's just logic. Okay. And I get it. They have to sell season passes to make money in the game. I know there are people showing videos about their numbers from last year and their numbers were down. I don't know those numbers off the top of my head. I don't know how much they made on the game. I have no idea. But from some of the videos I saw from some of the creators that pulled up the numbers, wherever they got it from, I don't know. But they said that their numbers are down. So what are they going to do to try to compensate? They're going to try to make overpowered cards and sell them in the season pass, because the season pass is where they're going to get the majority of their money. So that is to keep the game alive. Okay. That said, it's also not good for your game when you have a lot of your most popular creators. And I can only vouch for the ones I watch. I watch Dexter a lot. I watch Regis Kilbin a lot. I watch Binks a lot. They are the ones I'm generally watching now. Okay. Because they're on at the times that I'm able to watch, which is usually later at night and, or when I get up in the morning. So they're the ones that I usually watch. And all three of them are saying similar stuff. And they're saying that this card, specifically StarLord, is busted. And that it needs to be fixed. Some of them refuse to play it. Dexter said he just didn't want to have to succumb to playing it. And I understand where that standpoint comes from. I come from that Magic background that I have had, okay? Playing it since all of those massively broken cards were in the game. I owned a lot of the massively broken cards. I owned a Black Lotus. I owned the Moxes. All except for one. I don't think I ever had the Mox Emerald. But I had all the other ones. I owned, what else? Strip Mines. I owned Dual Lands. All of those famously broken cards that are worth tons and tons of money, by the way. I could have been a millionaire. A Beta Black Lotus alone is worth about $250,000 to $500,000, which I had a mint one. I owned a lot of broken cards. And so I know exactly what it's like to be playing. And then we would go to these tournaments, and some of these kids, younger kids and stuff like that are playing against me and my friends who at the time back then, we were in our late 20s. And some of these kids that are coming to play are 11, 12, 13 years old with their new card packs that they're buying from the new sets and trying to compete against us with all these broken cards. And they could not. They absolutely could not. And you know what happened? We stopped seeing them play. They would leave the tournament. They were disheartened. They knew they couldn't compete with what we had, and they would quit the game. Or they would play something else, which at that time was the start of Pokemon. So they turned around and they would start playing Pokemon. And you know what that led to, ironically? That led to the shop owners starting to pick up more Pokemon than they were Magic. And our Magic days kind of died because Pokemon took it over. I resented Pokemon because of that. But now looking back at it, that was our fault because we were playing with all these busted cards. Now, eventually, when the Pro Tour Magic stuff took over, they banned all those cards. So you couldn't use all those busted and broken cards. You could only use cards from the newer sets. So they had to. They absolutely had to do that. But that kind of led to the end of our run of Magic because my friends and I grew up with the broken card era, and they were the cards that we wanted to play. They were the cards we liked using. Some of us adjusted, some of us didn't, and the ones that didn't stopped playing the game. So, in retrospect, I am used to this. I am used to stuff being broken. But I am also coming from a perspective where I know that having broken cards that not everyone has access to is very bad for the state of a game. Very bad. I lived through it. And I do not want to see this happen to Snap because what's going to happen is with broken cards like this that not everybody has access to anymore or can't get, for whatever reason, they are going to turn their nose to this game and they're going to be done with it. They're going to be like, well, I don't have this busted or broken card, so I can't win games and I'm getting annoyed and I'm not going to play this game anymore. They have to understand that. Because and many of them, I'm sure, have played Magic in their lives. I know Glenn Jones did. Unfortunately, Glenn Jones isn't with them anymore. But these other people that are involved in it, the creators of the game that are left, have to understand that this needs to change. Now, I know there's an OTA. I think it's coming up next week. I want to say it's the 30th. I could be wrong, but it's coming up next week. They have got to change StarLord. I don't know how they're going to do it. I really don't, because to me at this point, I don't think you can keep it the way it is. I think you got to do a rework on that card, and they hate doing that. Taking a couple more points of power off StarLord is not going to do it. It's not going to do it. They need to rework this card. And the same thing with Fin Fang Foom. Taking power off of Fin Fang Foom is not going to cut it unless you reduce him down to like a 7-8 or something like that. And maybe that would work. He is a last turn I win card that you can easily get out no matter what his cost is. They're not going to change his cost to an 8 or a 9 or anything like that. So if they keep dabbling with that card to try to, and I told you my solution for this card. My solution for this card is to make it hit one card in your front, in the row that you play him on. One card. And it's random. It's random pick of the first or second card in the row. It's a random pick. So you can easily, if there's a low card in that front row, which there might be, a lot of times people might play like a 1-2, a 2-2, a 2-3, a 2-4, something like that, where you're only going to get that much. So you can get screwed. You can end up getting a 2, where he's only a 12, which is much more manageable. Or you can hit the jackpot and maybe get a 6. But he's much more manageable that way. If that were me, that is how I would do it. Whether they're going to do it or not, I don't know, but they'd better. Because everyone, including the creators, except for probably the StarLord believers, I'll call them, or the ones that are constantly playing this card, everyone besides them want this out of the meta. They want it gone. The only reprieve and the only time I saw the meta change over this past week was the day that they had the land out that everybody in Destroy always wants to play on. I forget what it was. But that is the only way that they're going to get everybody to be happy with this game right now, is to get this card out of the meta. Because when we've had stuff like this happen in the past, all the way back to Zabu, when it was busted, all the way back to the, other cards when they were busted, they took care of them and they got them out. StarLord needs to go. Period. End of story. It needs to go. People can say again to me, and the ones that the StarLord believers and truthers or whatever you want to call them out there are going to be the ones that are going to argue and say, no, you could counter him. Oh, no, you could. I don't want to hear that. I don't want to hear it. Because all that tells me is that you just don't want your favorite card done away with. When you can play a deck and not play on turn 1, turn 2, or turn 3, or maybe even sometimes turn 4, and you could still win a game of Snap on turn 6 because of this card, that card is overpowered. My God, you don't even have to play it. I don't know if this is why some people actually love this card. It's because they don't even have to look at the screen for the first 3 turns. Unless you're going to play a Jim Hammond out or a Psylocke out or something to give you, something to be able to play the StarLord on turn 4 or a Wave or a Luna. And if that's all you have to do in your first 3 turns, and yet you could let the other player that's playing have 16 cards on the board. I'm exaggerating, of course, but have a whole bunch of cards over on the other side of the board, and you're not even batting an eye because you don't care. Because you know that you are going to be able to Zola that StarLord, have a whole ton of stuff at the end of the turn, and can play a Fin Fang Foom on one lane, boom, you win, and play an Alioth on the other lane, or a Juggernaut on the other lane, and boom, you're going to win. That's ridiculous. And is way overpowered, and it needs to be gone. It needs to be gone. They made a big mistake with this card. Big mistake. The card is out of control. It's had enough of a share of the meta, and doing what they did to it, reducing its power, did absolutely nothing. Nothing. evidenced by what Safety Play did to start this discussion by making a deck with the new card with StarLord. You can't go wrong. Take any new card you want. Take any new card from this past month that you want to play and throw it in a StarLord deck, because that's probably the only way it's going to work. People trying to play little toxic lists, and the StarLord players are sitting back going, how cute. They're playing toxic. Oh, isn't that cool? Or, oh, look at this. They're playing high Evo negative. How cute. I have StarLord and I'm just going to kick your ass on the last turn. But good for you. You play that new card. You enjoy that until I beat your butt with my StarLord. Can't you see in your own mind what's wrong with that? You better. Because I'm warning you right now, if it goes the way of Magic, this game is going to be on limited time. So if you like the game, you better kind of maybe think about your opinion on StarLord. Because I've seen this story before, and it doesn't end well. Okay, that's that. That's that part of the show. It took a half an hour for me to do, but here we go. All right, we're going to look at, we're going to continue on with this discussion of the best cards in Marvel Snap. And we're going to look at the 2 power cards. We're going to look at 2s this week. Next week, we're going to go to 3s. So just make sure you go. When I put up the 3s, I put the 2s up a little bit late, but I certainly got a bunch of reaction to it. But next week will be the 3s, and I'll get those out as soon as I can. All right, so these are the ones that I have listed here. Time to vote for the best 2 card in Marvel Snap. I've got some of my choices below. You can pick from those or list one of your own and tell me why you picked it. Will be chosen on tomorrow's podcast. So I have Victoria Hand. She's got her own deck type, and she's been on top of the meta for a long time. Surge. This card has always been good since it first came out. It took a nerf a couple times. It doesn't matter. It's still just very good for what it does. Sam Wilson's Captain America. Still played in a lot of decks, especially on going lists, but even more than that, it just gets played in a lot of different lists and is just a very good card. Mirage. Mirage has been a very underrated card, probably since it's come out, but very good. And again, in the aforementioned Victoria Hand list. Merlin. Merlin is just a game-changing card. Just a game-changing card. And a lot of people's, in that werewolf deck, just, in the skills lit decks, and, is just a very good card for what he does. Iron Patriot. Just gives you a random good card. And many, many times people don't even play on the lane or just kind of ignore it now. And you're just going to get a low cost, good card that you can usually play. Kate Bishop, with all of her arrows, just allows you to play many times on curve. That acid arrow causes a problem sometimes. Very good in Clog, but very good in many, many other decks. Grand Master. This card, nobody could figure out when it first came out. Nobody played it. Nobody could figure it out. And I think I have to go all the way back to Alex and Cozy on the Snapchat. When Cozy ended up saying that one day people are going to finally realize how good this card actually is. Well, he is now a staple of StarLord. So I guess maybe it took this long. I don't know, but Grandmaster now is a pretty darn good card. So they're the ones that I have. And let me go over what you guys have said. Okay, so let me go to the responses. Rude Bear says, Merlin is my favorite card in the game. John Elliott, King John says, it has to be a tie between Merlin and Sam Wilson. You can play them in almost any deck, and they'll find some utility and versatility more than any 2 drops. Tarnished says, my vote goes to Merlin. Having so much versatility wrapped into such a solid enabler is so powerful. He was nerfed twice, rightfully, yet is still so solid. As what he does for 2 energy can't be replaced. I'm stoked to get his ultimate when it comes out. Vladimir says, tough one between Merlin and Surge, but I'm going to say Merlin. Rob, so subjective because different decks have their mandatory 2 costs. Dagger and move, Wolverine and destroy, Morbius in discard. For me, Psylocke is a queen if she gets Doom 2099 out eternally for me. I think I'd vote Surge, though. Adds power up, energy down, and repeatable. Maria says, hi, to me the best 2 cost cards are Moondragon, Merlin, Sam Wilson, and Surge. Have a nice day. Maria's always very positive. Taka says, I've won Infinity Conquest 13 times, and 7 of those times I've won with Sam Wilson in my deck. In my opinion, he's alongside Merlin as one of the few 2 drops that you can put on different archetypes of decks, and they will be good. Richard says Merlin with a pick of his card. OMG, it's Matt Geske says, this little hottie right here, I put her in as many decks as I can, Scam Queen. And he's talking about Quake. Quake is a very good, if this was voting on underrated 2s, this is probably the most underrated 2 card that there is in the game. This is the sneaky card that no one seems to play. But I would agree, a very sneaky game-winning card. Location manipulation in this game is a very underrated skill. See Legion. When Legion first came out, everybody thought it was a piece of garbage. No one played the card. And then when people started to learn, well, combined with the whole Storm thing, that started. But people started to realize that how good manipulation, changing locations actually is. Scarlet Witch is now seeing some play in certain decks. What else do we have that does? I know there's other things that change location, but I mean, yeah, Quake is a very underrated card. We have Cebus Cabrera says it has to be Surge, fits every deck. Mountaintop Collects says, can you get back into the game? I still have the mystery box. Can you get back into the game? I still have the mystery box. Not sure what you mean by that, bud. The mystery box error. Oh, that was fun, wasn't it? Yeah, when you got that little mystery box, people were trying to open it, and guess what? You just had to continue opening and opening and opening and opening and opening and opening, and you were stuck. I got it too. I had to uninstall and reinstall my whole game, so hopefully you did that. But what I will say is I did get a bunch of credits from that. It looked as if where I was, I think it was around 5,000 credits. When I kept on hitting my finger on that mystery box and opening it, I ended up with about 7,000 credits. So you did get a bunch of credits from it. At least I hope you did. DX Kuak says, Surge, Merlin, and Sam Wilson can be included in a variety of decks. What makes Surge and Merlin great is that if you don't draw them, you can still win. But if you have them in the board, your winning chances increase and makes your gameplay better and stronger. Surge is my GOAT. Joao says, I think Sam Wilson, Merlin, and Kate Bishop are on another level right now, followed by V-Hand and Iron Patriot, but today I'll always stick with Sam Wilson. Boys Fire Jr. Must be thinking I said 3s because he has Sage. Kamiko95 for me is either Iron Patriot with good versatility or Chamber with consistent high power. Yeah, well, Chamber was just nerfed, so you're not going to see as high power as you did before. Okay, so let me go on over to the Blue Sky, because I posted it over there as well. And let me see what we have here. Let's see what kind of responses I got on this. Fangride Amiscut says, up until the OTA, I would have said Iron Patriot. But I think the 4+ change did feel like a nerf and has dropped him a little bit. I think I'd have to go with Cable right now as the best 2, with Kate and Merlin close behind. Matthew says, wow, this is tough. I do find Generation very fun. What does he mean by Generation? That had to be a mistype. I bet you must have said Grandmaster because it's the only thing that started with a G. And Kate and Merlin also happen to be generically strong cards. They're also both the 2s I would recommend picking up most for smaller collections. Kate is my GOAT, but I'm leaning toward Merlin as number 1 because he's such a Swiss Army knife. And then Tompa Jelly says Merlin. Constant supply of 1-drops is so good. Well, guys, that and whatever else I saw in comments and things like that, I'm pretty sure I got pretty sure I've got my winner here. So the winner of the best 2-card cost in Marvel Snap, 2-cost card in Marvel Snap is, we need a drum roll. Merlin. Merlin is the winner. And look, I can judge that even. So how many decks that I play that are out there that have this card in them? Constantly do I see Merlin. And it just seems like this card just never falls out of favor. Whether or not it's playing a werewolf deck, whether or not it's playing in just a deck that just is going to use up a bunch of skills, whether I'm seeing it played with Clea or so many other combinations, this card is just extremely versatile. And yes, it took a bit of a nerf, but it's still very, very good. So Merlin is there, but again, followed probably closely by Surge. That was mentioned, and Sam Wilson, I would have to say, is up there too. So they are the ones that I see the most in play. But congrats to Merlin, who wins this week's best card in the game for 2 costs. All right. So next week we're going to do the 3s. So get ready for that. I will post a bunch of 3s that I think that are my favorites or that the ones that I would choose that are the most popular 3 cards in the game. So be on the lookout for those. All right. We're going to go into some data mine a little bit here. And we are going to look at the Daredevil cards because Daredevil is coming very soon. We only have, I think, one more week of this month already, and we'll be done there. So we are going to go to the Daredevil Crimson Twilight season, which comes up in May. And if, like I said, if you're not watching that Daredevil series, man, I mean, I'm telling you, the last 3 episodes of Born Again are just must-see Marvel TV. Must-see Marvel TV. This has been way better than the first season of Born Again. I know some people got a little turned off to it because of how they kind of felt that it wasn't really that good and stuff. And it was a little convoluted. I will say that it was a little convoluted. There are some really good episodes in it. Muse, I think, was not used very well at all. He was killed off just so quickly. And it just, but again, that one happened, I think, mostly because there was just the writers were fired and let go. And then they had to bring new writers in. And it just seemed like it was just kind of all over the place. I liked the bank episode with Ms. Marvel's father. I thought that was clever. I thought it was actually really good. But this season has been absolutely spectacular. This is rivaling the original Netflix stuff with what they've been doing. And there was a person who returned today or this week in the episode, which was very cool. I heard we're getting more returns. But anyway, let's take a look at these cards. We'll go over them really, really quickly. And I'm not going to rank them or anything. I'm just going to read them. And then I'll rank them, of course, on next week's show, actually. Because, we're going to be previewing the next season already next week because it's the end. Obviously, the season pass is the man himself. Shadowlands Daredevil is a 2/2. And, of course, he's got that black suit on that he's wearing in the show. On reveal, shuffle in 3 demons. When you draw a card with 6 or more power, plus 2 power. So Daredevil's gonna shuffle in demons, which are, of course, the 1/6s. I'm curious as to whether they're going to look different or if it just looks like the normal demon. We already have one variant of that looks like the demon is different looking. The art is different. So we'll see if we get different art. When you draw those cards, so anything with 6 or more power, Daredevil's going to gain plus 2. So when you draw those demons, he's going to gain a plus 2. So at the least, if you draw all, at the most rather, if you draw all 3 of them, he's going to be a 2/4, 2/6. He's going to be a 2/8. It's going to be a 2/8 if you draw all 3 of them, and you're gonna have a lot. You're gonna have a lot of stuff on the board. So, I mean, this is kind of cool. People are looking at this season a lot as possibly being a bounce season. Because imagine you play this card, right? On reveal, you get those 3 demons. You bounce it and bounce it back, you're going to get 3 more demons. You keep doing that. It kind of reminds you of old bounce, right? Where you were just doing that with the regular demon, but then you were having a -3 on the board sometimes, but otherwise now you got another card that you can bounce it. You're just going to get demons from. You're not going to get the 1/3s anymore from the hood. So it maybe will turn out to be a bounce season. And I'm sure a lot of people would like that. I'm not a big bounce fan, but there are a lot of people that are out there that love the archetype. Then we also have Wilson Fisk, who is the premium season pass card. He's a 5/9. Costs 3 if you have the highest power among cards in play. So if you're sitting there with the highest power among cards in play, he's going to be a 3/9, which is pretty good. Pretty good. So you get Daredevil and Wilson Fisk as your season pass and your premium season pass cards. Now, also on May 5th, and maybe this is going to come via a limited time game mode, you have Karen Page. Karen Page is a 4/5 on reveal. Give one of your 1, 2, and 3 cost characters +2 power each. Give one of your 1, 2, and 3 cost characters a +2 power each. I mean, obviously she's going to buff Daredevil. He's a 2 cost. And if you have some of those demons out, she's going to buff them as well with 2 extra power. So you can see how this is all synergizing, which is actually pretty cool. So that is Karen Page. Then the next week on May the 12th, you're also getting 2 cards. So there's probably another limited time mode there too. We're getting Punisher War Machine. He is a 2/2. When drawn, mark one of your empty locations. Objective, win that location. And you get a +1 max energy. Oh, God. Oh, God. StarLord. Oh, good Lord. Not going to spend much time on that. We're also getting Ikari. Ikari is a 4/12. You can only play this where an enemy is afflicted with negative power. So obviously this would work with the afflict stuff that's been played now. So you can, because otherwise, if you don't have anything afflicted, you can't play him. That enemy has to be afflicted with some sort of negative power in order to play it at all. So he's only gonna fit in an afflict deck. We have Muse. Muse is a 3/3 ongoing, +3 power for each location where one of your cards has been destroyed. So he's an ongoing that's gonna go in a destroy deck. Interesting. That's on May 19th. That's week 3. And then the final week of the season, we have Lady Bullseye is a 2/2 on reveal, afflict an enemy card with -2 power. Repeat on a different enemy for each of your unspent energy. Oh my God, they better nerf that StarLord card. They better nerf it. Good Lord, because now we're going to have Punisher that's going to want to be in there. And we're going to have Lady Bullseye that's going to want to be in there. And she afflicts an enemy card with -2 power. Repeat on a different enemy for each of your unspent energy, which you're not going to be spending energy at all with StarLord. So, oh man. And then lastly, we have Stick. Is a Series 4 card. On reveal, give the next card you play power equal to this card's power. So he's essentially a buff card. If you buff him enough, then you're going to give the next card you play power equal to his power. So obviously he's going to be a buff card. Oh, it scares me that we've got all these StarLord cards, man. They better buff that. They better nerf that card. That's all I could say. Then we have, following that is going to be June. I'm just going to read what these are. We have, this is the beach month, the beach bash. So our series season pass card is, we have Jeff the baby dolphin, ? Because he's wearing a dolphin outfit. We have Venus. we have these cards boost. So boost +1 each card you reveal here. Okay, movable ones. Then we have Monstro, who's a big giant octopus. Then we have a Beach Jubilee. Actually, it's Jubilee the Silver Surfer. It's another boost card. Now, this card here is a anti-StarLord card. Now, I hope they're not waiting for this, because this isn't going to necessarily do it. This is, when you play this, well, this comes out on June 11th. This is Quicksand. The next time your opponent would start a turn with bonus energy, they don't get it. So she eliminates the bonus energy altogether. So this will kill the StarLord deck, and maybe this is what they're going to wait for. It's possible. This is only a Series 4 card, so everybody's going to be able to get it easily with something. But this is going to end the StarLord deck, so maybe they won't touch it because of this. The next time your opponent would start a turn with bonus energy, they don't get it. But it's only the next time, so it's one turn. So no, it's not going to kill it. It's going to prevent it for one turn, but it's not going to totally kill it. So it would prevent it, if you have this out, it would prevent the first StarLord, but it wouldn't do the Arnim Zola one or do that. So I don't know. Is this going to be enough? Don't know. We've got Submariner, who's a 1/2. When this card is boosted at a random... Okay, so that's a card you're going to have to boost. Then we got Namorita. And we've got Triton. So I'm not going to go over those just yet. They're not coming out until June, but there you go. We might have a StarLord kind of a stopper, but it should... I think someone mentioned that to me, that it should be ongoing. If it's ongoing, then it would shut it down. So... All right, well, there you go. That's the Datamines. That's all the stuff that I wanted to begin the show with. So we are going to go to In a Snap, and that is my week in the game. So we're going to go to that. And as I told you guys, I have been playing ladder, which I normally don't do. But I've been playing some ladder this week, and I managed to get to level 87, which is where I'm at right now. All right, let me open this up on the tablet here and talk about my week in the game. All right. So... I left off there. I beat the... Okay. I wasn't where I wanted to be. But yeah. All right. So I am level 87. That's the highest I've gotten. So I haven't gotten 88 or anything like that yet. We'll see. Can I make it to 90? We shall see. But right now I am at 87 on ladder. I've completed the shop to get Morph out of Conquest. So I did get the Morph card. So that's where I'm at. Let's look at some decks here. I don't think... Binks was playing with this one. This is a Polaris deck that he came up with. This is a Binks. This was a ramp deck that he made. This is Moondragon, Polaris, Hazmat, Electro, Luna Snow, Omega Sentinel, Dragon Lord, Blink, Enchantress, Galactus, Infinite, and Fin Fang Foom. So I was watching him play that on his stream. So there's a little bit of a ramp deck you could try with her in it. I was winning a lot, surprisingly, with this one. And this is an Arishem list. This is a little Arishem I was playing. I haven't played Arishem in forever. I normally don't care for it all that much because of the randomness of it, but I heard on Snap on this, I heard Ree saying that she was playing Arishem and having some luck with it, so I thought I would try this one. I think this came from KM Best. I'm pretty sure it did, his best decks list. This is Iron Patriot, Valentina. Luke Cage I stuck in here because of the toxic stuff. Gambit, Horseman of Death, Iska, Negasonic, Stardust, Supergiant, both of the tech cards in there. Lady Deathstrike, Eliath, Arishem, and Fin Fang Foom are all in here. Of course, Fin Fang Foom's a must include in this because you're always going to get the 7. So you can always have this as your last turn if you end up drawing it. But yeah, I was winning a lot of games with this, surprisingly, and normally I don't do very well with this kind of a deck, but yeah, I was winning some games with this, so having a little fun with Arishem. Let me see what else I played. I was playing some of Safety Blade's deck that he was playing. This was Squirrel Girl, Nightcrawler, Sandstorm, Armor, Rhino, Patriot, Cosmo. I was playing this a lot when that Destroy Land was prevalent the other day for the hot location because I have Armor and Cosmo in here. Debris, Selene, Juggernaut, Legion, and Ozymandias. So if you want to counter Destroy, that's a good one to play. And I was playing some more Doom, even though it had to be switched around a little bit because Chamber is not what he used to be. So kind of a lot of people took Chamber out of the deck, but replaced him with Sam Wilson. So this is Moondragon, Sam Wilson, Captain America, obviously Invisible Woman, Caliban, Drax, Iska, Doom, Iron Lad, Cosmic Ghost Rider, Sandman, Doctor Doom, and Aurora is pretty much all the same. So pretty much all they did was just took out Chamber and replaced him with Sam Wilson's Captain America. So, and this is still pretty good. This is still a pretty good mid-range deck. And that's really about it. That's really about all that I've been kind of messing around with. Still mess around with my Galactus deck every now and then, but I read that off on other episodes before. All right. What do we have as far as variants are concerned? So I got, of course, the Strife one that is on the collection track when you hit level 50. So I have that one. That is made by System Studios. I got the Morph one I told you guys from Conquest. That's Matt Dixon variant. I got the Carnage one, which I think was on I think this was one of the daily giveaways. Dan Luvisi's Carnage. I got the Wolverine comic cover. I had to get this. And I'm not a Destroy player whatsoever, but I had to get this because this is just an iconic comic book cover. Bronze Age variant, they call these. And this is the Wolverine comic book cover of him kind of motioning you over with his finger there and having the claw up. And he's got the old brown outfit on. Amazing. I love the comic book covers. So I always have to pick those up. I got a Domino variant. This is System Studios Domino. I think that was also part of the collection track. The Jim Hammond variant Flaviano, I picked this up last week, and I think I told you guys about that. So that's really it. I didn't get a ton of variants this week. All right, so we went over decks, we went over variants. Let's look. We got the Collector's Vault today. They are starting to put some different new cards in this, which it's kind of about time that they are. But I'm seeing new cards in here. I have a Misty Knight Noir variant, which I have never seen before. It's very cool looking. 1,400 gold, though. And when are you going to play Misty Knight other than High Evo? But it's very cool looking. I like it. It's probably my favorite Misty Knight so far. They also have a Justin Fields Silver Samurai, which looks really good. This one looks like if you were to see him in real life, what he would maybe look like. But this is sick looking variant. Really cool. But again, 2,000 gold. And it's not a card I ever play. They have a Gamora Chibi, not into Chibis. They have the Moon Colony variant of Lockjaw, which is very cute. I don't have that one, though. Then they have a Luna Snow Lee Wool Chul variant. I have her ultimate, so I don't really have any need for any more of her. And then Lee Wool Chul variant of Swordmaster. So that's what's in there. Scorn Bundle Technomancer for $50. Special offers, not too bad. You get a rare mystery variant and you get 900 gold for $10. So that's not bad, I guess. But I'm rare complete. So actually, if I bought that, I would get 200 more gold because I'm the rare variant complete. So I would end up getting 1,100 gold for $10. So I don't know. I have to figure out the math on that. The Polaris special offer for $30 for her variant. I never get those. Too much money. We have a Morbius fantasy variant for $15. I have a lot of good ones of him. The $99 bundle has Eson and Blink with 10,000 credits, 3,000 not credits, 10,000 tokens, 3,000 gold, and then a border. Brand of Power Star Brand variant, $50. Claws out the X23 variant. I'm not a Destroy player, so I don't play that often. Shang-Chi for $30. The Victor Pharaoh. Premium Mystery Pack for $50. And then in the variants today, I have the Julian Del Rey variant of Surtur, which is new, which is cool. I have the fantasy variant of Electro in there. Fireball Studio variant of Firehair, Vincenzo Riccardi, Killmonger, Venomized Silk. I always look to see if these, if I buy them, would give me anything in the albums. Therefore, Victor Pharaoh Scorn, Victor Pharaoh Ravonna. I would get 2,000 credits if I got that one. And then the Hellfire Gala variant of Magic. Nothing for that one either. So that's it. That's all I've got in the shop, and that's all I've got as far as variants, and that is my week in the game. Okay. Moving on, we're going to go to Comics Corner, and we are going to look up, and I'm not going to guarantee that I'm really going to have very much. I don't really think that I'm gonna find very much here, but we'll see. Because these are, of course, Horsemen again. So we have Polaris, Horsemen of Pestilence, and probably most of it's going to come up under Marvel Snap. Polaris, yeah, see, if I... yeah, see, these are all just generalized in Horsemen of Apocalypse. Let's see here. Horsemen of... oh, man, yeah, this... well, I'm going to just go to Polaris's. I'm going to go to look up Polaris here quick and see what we get. Lorna Dane from Earth 616. Her quote is, "I often find a terrifying comfort in the possibility of evanescing. I never asked to exist or to be like this clumsy and fumbling congregation of flaws. I think there's something wrong with me. I could still feel an itch on my head, an itch in my head. Like Saturn's not quite done with me yet. Sometimes I'm able to convince myself there's no such thing as kindness in this world, no such thing as courage. I tell myself there's only redemption and penitence. There's only reticence and pain. I am thankfully often wrong on such things." Dr. Lorna Dane is the daughter of the infamous Magneto. Inheriting her father's mutant abilities of magnetism, she adopted the name Polaris. She has explored very diverse paths concerning her stance on mutant affairs. Manipulated by Mesmero, Dane was rescued by the mutant hero group known as the X-Men and ultimately joined their ranks. However, she soon decided to abandon the eccentric life of mutant superhero in order to pursue an education in geophysics. Contrary to her wishes, though, Polaris was constantly dragged back to mutant crises for being a victim of many ill-intended actors such as Eric the Red, the Marauders, Zaladane, Apocalypse, and even her father, Magneto. This has naturally led her to be a relevant player in the mutant community, especially by being a prominent agent for the many iterations of X-Factor and for her familial relationship to Magneto. On the mutant island nation of Krakoa, Polaris has grown even closer to her father. Soon after proposing the reformation of X-Factor as an investigative agency, Polaris was elected by the Krakoans to join the most recent version of the X-Men. All right, so here it is. Here's the pestilence section. Before Havoc could protest any further, the creature grabbed Lorna and flew away with her. Creature dropped her inside Apocalypse Sphinx. Whether the creature was in league with Apocalypse or was repelled by the ship's systems, or even if the creature was real or some artificial creation of Apocalypse celestial technology, was not entirely clear. When Apocalypse made Lorna an offer of power as his Horseman of Pestilence, she refused, but was eventually tempted to join him. Mind-wiped, she ingested viruses from the World Health Organization and was attempting to create a meta-plague. In the climactic battle between the X-Men, the Avengers, and Apocalypse, Wolverine discovered the choking pestilence was Lorna. Havoc was able to resuscitate Lorna, having been given a serum to protect him from the diseases present in her body. She was recovering in the X-Mansion when Gambit and Sunfire returned to take her away. She arose and refused to go with them. Polaris decided to leave that night to search for Apocalypse in Egypt. She went alone and was later hunted until Havoc and the new X-Men team saved her. Emma Frost noted that her powers seemed to be mutating and that Apocalypse fused unknown technology to Lorna's nervous system to replicate her lost magnetic powers. So that's the pestilence stuff. Yeah, that's really about it. Like I said, unfortunately, these don't have like a whole lot of detail because it's just, you know, it's just about that one particular character in that one particular story. So there's not a whole ton of details about these. And all right, so let's go to Archangel. We'll go to see if there's anything about him. Warren Worthington III. Yeah, I got a little bit more about him. So, Savior, Killer, Harbinger of Hope and Destruction. I am unsure who or what I am, but I'd like to find out. Millionaire playboy, as well as a mutant gifted with wings that allow him to soar into the skies as a high-flying angel of the first class of X-Men. Parallel to his angelic persona, Worthington also operates as the death machine named Archangel. Wishing to put his abilities to help those in need, Angel started to avenge crime by himself as a vigilante before being found by Professor Xavier and recruited to his X-Men. He stood by the X-Men in times of need until departing after no longer recognizing Xavier's dream in face of aggressive new mutants joining his class. Wishing to finance superheroics, he was also an inestimable supporter and founder of the Champions, the Defenders, and X-Factor. Angel met dark nature of mutant kind in himself. His business in X-Factor led him to be betrayed by his close but envious friend Cameron Hodge, which cost him his blessed wings. Vulnerable without his powers, Angel was corrupted by the eternal mutant Apocalypse, who replaced his wings with poisonous metallic blades to have him serve as his most lethal horseman. As an instrument of death, Worthington rejoined his longtime friends in X-Factor as Archangel, although he was forever scarred by the transformation. During a slow recovery, Archangel reestablished his life and even became one of Xavier's most valuable allies. As an instrument of death, Worthington rejoined his longtime friends in X-Factor as Archangel, although he was forever scarred by the transformation. During a slow recovery, Archangel reestablished his life and even became one of Xavier's most valuable allies by helping mutants in the corporate world through X-Corps. The Archangel persona resurfaced as Worthington allied himself with a killing squad aimed at targeting enemies of mutant kind at all costs. So I might have read this before. Sorry, I think I started over. I lost my part here. His death triggered the death seed in Archangel's body that's Apocalypse, when Apocalypse died, ascending to the ladder as the next evolutionary caretaker and head of Clan Akaba. X-Force combated Archangel, however, the life seed erased his mind completely, forcing him to restart his life as a new person. In due time, he fully recovered, harmonizing his two identities. After mutant kind resettled on the nation of Krakoa, Worthington resumed his activities as an influential businessman in X-Corps, moving his wealth and assets to protect his race. Right. Goes through all of this. Yeah, there's just a lot here about him, of course, because stuff about Sauron, the Murlocs, Dazzler, the Defenders, X-Factor. Of course, this is just Angel. And there's Death, Horseman of the Apocalypse. Was brainwashed and began to serve Apocalypse, warped his body and mind into his own Angel of Death upon his celestial ship, and placed him into a team of horsemen as Death. Warren's skin turned blue. He grew a set of biometallic wings from his back that could retract and also fired dart blades with a neurotoxin. New wings could fly higher, faster, and were razor sharp. Apocalypse had the horsemen battle each other to find the leader, and Death beat them all. As Death, Warren fought the rest of X-Factor and captured them. After X-Factor's defeat, the horsemen were sent into Manhattan to incite chaos. Warren was shocked back to his senses after Iceman faked his own death at Warren's hands by having him destroy an ice sculpture of Bobby. After the defeat of Apocalypse, his sentient ship crash-landed on their complex, and X-Factor began living in it. X-Factor was approached by the media and finally revealed the truth of X-Factor's mutant origins. Archangel, continually fighting an inward battle against his killer instincts, Warren eventually learned to control his wings. Through concentration, he was attacked by Caliban, a former teammate who had taken his place as the Horseman Death. Trying to prove himself in the eyes of Apocalypse, later Warren encountered a resurrected Cameron in Genosha. Warren met a widowed mother and beat cop named Charlotte Jones. Together they began an awkward relationship. It was with Charlotte's help that X-Factor freed Warren from the Ravens, a cult of near-immortal psychic vampires. It was during this battle that Warren's survival was made public knowledge, allowing him to regain his control over his family's remaining business holdings and his personal future. So that is all the stuff about Archangel. All right, we're going to go over to the Marvel Unlimited app, which, by the way, you should have if you cannot get to a comic book store. If you can, please do. But if you don't, you really should get this app, especially if you're interested in the comics and you want to read them. This is the best way to do it. So let's look up both of these. We'll look up Polaris, which I know is not going to come up with the one we want it to. So I'm just going to look up Polaris. The details of her: the daughter of Magneto, Lorna Dane possesses many of her father's mutant powers. She fought to unite mutants and humans under the codename Polaris. Unfortunately, she was often afflicted by her own powers, but continued to fight for good along the X-Men and X-Factor. You could find her in a lot of X-Men stuff. And then, of course, the Horseman would be in the Age of Apocalypse books. And then we're going to go to Archangel, see if he has any of his own books here. Yep. Warren Worthington III mutated wings during adolescence and gained the ability to fly. Swooped up by Professor X. That's clever. He fought alongside the X-Men, the champions, the Defenders, and X-Factor when his wings were destroyed in a mutant massacre. He was brainwashed by Apocalypse, who gave him metal wings and turned him into Archangel, sorry. He returned to X-Men and X-Force while secretly remaining Archangel. There is an Archangel book from 1996. He was also in Spectacular Spiderman, Uncanny X-Force. Oh, he's in Marvel's, that's right. Yeah, Angel is in Marvel's book. Oh, if you guys haven't read Marvel's, you really need to. That is just so good. So good, man. That's one of the best comic book series and such amazing artwork. Earth X stuff, Dark X-Men, Excalibur, Warlock and Infinity Watch. Lots and lots of X-Men stuff. And then, of course, the Age of Apocalypse stuff he will be in as well. All right, let's get to the new this week books. And we have Miles Morales, Spider-Man, Brooklyn's Finest, up to number 14. The Legacy of Vader, which ended this week. This is that Kylo Ren story. Yeah, it was pretty good. I enjoyed this. It went 12 issues. And, of course, now it's over. But I thought it was pretty good, if you like the character, of course. Doctor Strange is up to issue number 2. Spirits of Violence, up to issue number 4. Battle World, up to issue number 5. Dungeons of Doom, issue number 1, which is brand new. That takes place after the whole world, One World Under Doom. Uncanny X-Men is up to number 22. Null has a new comic out. Number 1 issue for Null. Dimensional Rivals, issue number 1. Also another new comic. Ultimates is up to number 20. X-Men Infinity comic number 14. Logan, Black, White, and Blood. Oh, this interests me. Anything with Logan with blood is going to be probably pretty good. And that's issue number 1 also. Black Cat's up to issue number 6. Looks like Daredevil's in that one. Luna Snow's got a new book called Luna Snow World Tour, if you're a fan of Luna. Issue number 1 on that. Avengers number 34. That's the 2023 series. Spider-Man, Amazing Spider-Man Torn. Love this one. It takes place during his college years. Really, really like this book, up to issue number 4. And then Marvel Nuts Infinity comic, up to issue number 24. So that is the new books. And again, new to the newsstands. And this won't get to the app for probably about 3 months or so. But Spider-Man and Superman came out today in comic shops. Definitely going to have to go and find that because I have to pick that up. I know I'll get it here, but I would really like to get myself a physical copy just because I own the first one and it's one of my all-time favorite books. So, all right, folks, that is it for Comics Corner. We are now going to go to my movie section of the show. And I like to call it a minute at the movies, even though it never will be that. But lots and lots and lots of stuff always going on in the movie world. So let me get to some of this. This is from Total Film. Kevin Feige outlines the timeline on when Robert Downey Jr. was approached to play Dr. Doom. Read more below. And it says, Marvel's boss said they moved away from Kang and towards Dr. Doom around the time of Ant-Man 3. Well, look, we all know, you know, if you were reading news headlines and stuff like that about Marvel and everything back then, you know why this came about. The lawsuit for Jonathan Majors probably brought a lot of this to light and a lot of this around. And that was actually settled. Him and his girlfriend, I believe, settled that lawsuit. So who knows what happened? I've seen the footage where he went chasing her down the street from his car after he stopped his car. I saw the traffic cam footage that they had of it. But what you really didn't see was, you know, who knows? Who knows with that? But in any case, you know, it makes a lot of sense that why they moved away with it was probably because of that. Or it could have also been the reaction to the Kang stuff in the last Ant-Man film, which could have been that too, because not very many people liked that. Now that came out around COVID time, so that was rough to begin with, but not many people really got into that movie. And the fact that Ant-Man was just able to beat him, I think kind of turned people off to how powerful that guy really was and how they made him look. So in either case, there you go. This is from Culture Crave. Joe Russo says that the Avengers Endgame re-release has new footage that ties into the story of Avengers Doomsday. It's an opportunity, it's a quote from Joe Russo, to create a bridge from Endgame to Doomsday in a very unique way. Here's my guess with this. First of all, we know that Josh Brolin said he is returning for Doomsday. So, more than likely, Thanos will be back. Now, If you read the 2015 comics, Doom literally rips the spine out of Thanos. Now, I don't know if they're going to show that in a PG Avengers movie, or if they're going to do it that way, but as a post-credit scene to Endgame, I mean, we know that Thanos came to their universe, but wasn't the current iteration of Thanos, because, of course, he died. Thor, they killed him, right? So that Thanos died in that timeline. So the one that comes at the end of Endgame comes from another timeline. So what's to say that Doom doesn't end up in that timeline, because that could be another incursion type thing? And what's to say that Doom doesn't show up maybe on Thanos' ship before he even gets to the heroes, and he rips Thanos' spine out? Maybe that's what's going to happen. We'll see. But, I mean, there's a reason that they want you to go see Endgame, which, I mean, obviously a lot of us are going to do anyway, but I wouldn't miss that. Okay, this comes from Cosmic Marvel. New reports detailed on the X-Men reboot will feature a coming-of-age story. Well, we kind of figured that. They're going to cast it over again, right? Wolverine will not be part of the lineup. Will not be part of the lineup. Probably pretty smart with that, too, because Hugh Jackman, I don't think he'll be going forward as Wolverine. We may see the last of his Wolverine in either Doomsday or Secret Wars. But I highly don't think he's going to be playing the role till he's 90. So obviously, they're going to start over without Wolverine in the lineup, which I think is smart. Gives them some time to reestablish the character. Everybody loved Hugh Jackman as that character, and gives them some time to reestablish another actor in that role. Will feature a younger cast that grows over time. The lineup won't be as big as the one in X-Men 97. And the original 5 X-Men will be the main team with 3 extra members. So you can go and look that up for yourselves as to who the original lineup was. Jean Grey, Iceman, Beast. I'm trying to think who else was in the original X-Men lineup. See, again, I told you, my X-Men knowledge is not what it should be. But I don't know who the other 2 are off the top of my head. You guys might know that better than me. Oh, Cyclops, probably more than likely. But yeah, so there's going to be that. So that's going to happen in this X-Men reboot. We'll switch gears. Clayface teaser trailer came out today. Oh my God, they were not kidding when they said that this was going to be body horror. If you haven't seen this yet, and if you're not squeamish and you don't mind body horror stuff, OMG, wow. You get a glimpse of Gotham. So this is obviously now going to be, this is DC canon. So, James Gunn is still saying that the Batman with Pattinson is not DC canon. So this is DC canon's first look at Gotham City. So there's a whole bunch of Easter eggs that people are spotting that you got to see in the film. You got to see Gotham PD, a Gotham police car. So you get to see all this stuff in it. But also, I mean, my God, this is definitely a horror film. No doubt. I love it. Comic book horror combined. I love it. I love this. This looks like it's going to be tremendous. And James Gunn's no secret to horror. He did, I always forget the name of this film, but he did, in essence, what was a Superman horror film. I forget, Brightburn, which is amazing, by the way. If you haven't seen that, go watch it. It's so good. So James Gunn has already dabbled in this kind of thing. So Clayface to be a horror character, I'm all in, and I can't wait to see it. So go check out the trailer if you haven't done so. James Gunn also confirmed that Man of Tomorrow is now filming. I think that started today. So Superman Man of Tomorrow, which of course they put out the logo for it, which is Superman's logo in front of a Brainiac logo. So obviously we are finally getting Brainiac in a Superman movie after all these years. We're finally getting Brainiac. And supposedly Lex Luthor is back from the last Superman film. And he's supposed to help Superman in this movie. So we might see Lex and Superman actually team up to fight against the threat that Brainiac's going to bring. So that's cool. This one I loved. A new report saying this from the Cosmic Circus, but this has been all over the place. Man Spider not appearing in Spider-Man Brand New Day. Yes. Thank you. Did not want to see that. Did not want to see any 6-armed Peter Parker. And I bet you, and it even goes on to say here, some producers were concerned how families would react to an 8-legged monster in the movie. Very smart. A lot of kids go see this. They love Tom Holland. How would kids react to seeing him with 6 arms? I don't think very good. Smart move. Very, very, very smart move. So that leads speculation now into what is happening to Tom Holland. Where do you go with it? Now, some have noticed when he's ripping his way out of the webs that his whole left arm and hand is black. We're going to get more into this a little bit later in this segment because Mr. Mark Ruffalo, who is very bad with spoilers along with Tom Holland, may have told us the answer. So we'll get more into that. This one is cool. Comic-Con, if you're a fan of Comic-Con, San Diego Comic-Con, one of the biggest geek things of the year. Marvel Studios is officially returning to Hall H at San Diego Comic-Con this year. You can bet they are. They are probably going to go over Doomsday, of course. Some people are saying that may be the first trailer. I don't think they're going to wait that long with it, especially after they saw it at CinemaCon. Maybe they do. I don't think I would make that decision. I would kind of capitalize on it, but you can bet you're going to get some sort of big event for Doomsday. They might have cast members. They might have all the cast members. They might have a new trailer by then. Who knows? But they are going to have that. We may even get now. We're probably also going to get some TV. So probably going to get a glimpse of Vision Quest, which comes out later this year, which a lot of people are saying looks very good. So we're going to probably get a look at that. Maybe some of the animated stuff as well. And also may get a little glimpse. Now they have started filming it. Or no, I'm sorry, they're going to start filming it. So we may get a little peek into something X-Men live action. So going to be cool. Comic-Con will be a must-watch thing this year. Marvel Studios also plans to be a part of D23 this summer. So 2 big cons. That's 2 big places you can get a lot of news from Marvel Studios. D23, of course, is Disney's con. This one is from Discussing Film. X-Men 97 Season 2 will have its world premiere at Tribeca Film Festival in June. The series is now expected to release on Disney Plus this summer. So that's cool. A lot of people love that. I know I did. New posters out for Spider-Man Noir, releasing May 27th on Prime Video. So that's just a month away. That we'll get to see Nicolas Cage and Spider-Man Noir. So that a lot of people looking forward to that. By the way, tomorrow is Stranger Things, the animated stuff, 1985. It releases tomorrow. So look out for that if you're a Stranger Things fan. The Punisher One Last Kill has been rated TV mature. Well, I'm not surprised. Releases on May 12th on Disney Plus, so that's coming up soon because Daredevil's going to be ending soon. This is just a random one, but I Am Legend 2 is officially happening. I loved I Am Legend. Very good movie with Will Smith. With director Stephen Caple Jr., starring Will Smith and Michael B. Jordan. Okay. This is again from Joe Russo, the comment that we had before about Endgame. Director Joe Russo said it is vital to bring Avengers Endgame back to theaters ahead of Victor Von Doom's arrival later this year because the new footage is critical, vital and critical to the story of Avengers Doomsday. Wow, okay. Gotta see it. Elizabeth Olsen says she's really excited for Vision Quest. Paul Bettany is really proud of it, and he's really excited to share it. He feels it's a really great rounding out of what we made with WandaVision and Agatha all along. He thinks it just kind of sticks the landing. That's cool. I like both of those shows. Marvel Comics announces Miles Morales' Spider-Man, a new ongoing series from writer Brian Edward Hill and artist Nico Leon. So a new Spider-Man Miles Morales series coming to comics. Wolverine will not be part of the X-Men team in the reboot. That's the same thing there. They came out with a poster for Clayface also. Issue 25, The New Face of Regenerative Medicine. Exclusive interview with Caitlin Core. Caitlin Core? Yeah. CORR. Mental Health Revolution. Novel therapies for treatment-resistant depression. The future of organ transplants. Urban health challenges. Tackling airborne diseases in megacities. And then it says Gotham Medical across the bottom of the fake movie cover. So that's cool. As I said, Marvel's web-slinging wall-crawler and DC's Man of Tomorrow reunite after 50 years. 50 years. Yeah, so it was 1976 that Superman Spider-Man comic that I have came out. Pick up Spider-Man Superman #1 by Brad Meltzer, Pepe Larraz, and more on sale tomorrow, which is actually today. How about this one? Aubrey Plaza wants a Lady Death project. Oh, I love that. I think the character has so much potential. If you look up her origin in the comics, she's got a love triangle with Thanos and Deadpool, and she doesn't die. What's more fun than that? Yeah, I'd love to see her in her own series. They came out with also a Gotham Gazette newspaper with this for Clayface. Actor Matt Hagen brutally attacked. So that's, of course, how he becomes Clayface. This is some Star Wars news, guys. And by the way, again, with Star Wars, if you're not watching Maul, you're missing out. It's down to its last 2 episodes. Fantastic animated series of Darth Maul. And also Mandalorian and Grogu. I've got my tickets to go see. I did enjoy the last trailer for that. Jon Favreau did an interview about it. Also talking about how Mando Season 4 was supposed to lead into Ahsoka 2. But now they kind of had to pivot around it and do it the way they're doing it now. But now he's saying that you're seeing the sequel stuff, which means like the First Order, like you're seeing signs of that making its way to the universe in Ahsoka 2. So he kind of gave a little teaser about what Ahsoka 2 is going to be, and that comes out later this year. I've actually loved that. I really thought that's been very good. Of course, we're seeing live action version of the Rebels characters, which is awesome. I love what I find out live action Ezra, which I think is Rebels is one of the best Star Wars things I've seen in a long time. But anyway, this is A New Hope. So this is the OG returning to IMAX for its 50th anniversary. And this is one of those moments that actually hits different. Seeing the film that started everything back on the big screen again means experiencing the original story of Luke, Leia, and Vader the way it was meant to be seen. With the scale, the sound, and the feeling that changed cinema forever, bringing one of the most iconic movies of all time back where it belongs. I can't wait. This is next year, the 50th anniversary of it, and I'll get to see Star Wars in it. Now, this is not the Lucas cuts. This is not the changed ones. This is the OG Star Wars as it was first seen when I first saw it on a screen, and I get to go watch it on IMAX. I'm psyched. Can't wait for that. Clayface poster. Go and look at it. Oh, dear God, it's the stuff nightmares are made of. And then Mark Ruffalo. Mark Ruffalo. My God, this guy is the worst spoiler person ever. Mark Ruffalo may have just confirmed. Spoilers, guys. I'll give you a couple seconds. That Venom is in Spider-Man Brand New Day. Mark Ruffalo lets it slip that Spider-Man will be fighting an alien in the future in Brand New Day. I mean, if you read the comics, right, you kind of all know that this is coming. I mean, Peter got his black suit in Secret War in the 80s. That was one of the reasons why they did Secret War, by the way, other than to sell toys, was to introduce Peter's new costume, the black costume. So we all kind of knew this was coming. Are they going to tie this in with Sony's Venom? I have no idea. If you watch Venom 3, that symbiote died, although there was a little tiny piece of it that they left out in the open. And then you also have the one that was teased at the end that was in the bar and stuff like that. So is that going to be the symbiote, or is it going to be an all new symbiote from another universe, maybe with the whole secret? I would go with just something new. Because the symbiote that's going to infect Peter is not going to be a friendly symbiote like the one that infected Tom Hardy's Venom. That was the Lethal Protector symbiote. This one is not going to be that symbiote, I don't think. I wouldn't have that anyway. I would have this one and give Peter the black costume, and that's going to lead then to the nasty Venom, the Venom we see from Eddie Brock. And in fact, then that would allow them to reintroduce Eddie Brock into the new universe with Peter, maybe when Peter's working for the Bugle, and Eddie Brock is the reporter, and bring that whole thing to light. That's what I would like to see happen. But we all knew this was coming. But I think that could be why Peter's eyes were turning black in the trailer. That's why his hand was turning black in the trailer. I think you're going to see that he could be introduced to the symbiote prior to Secret War, which would make sense because Peter's not in Doomsday. He's not in it. So you could see that happen then possibly in this film, and then the symbiote gets taken with him into Doomsday, not into Doomsday, into Secret War. So he'll have it already. They're not going to do it where he finds it on some kind of abandoned thing in Battle World. They're not going to do that. That's weird. That was the 1984 stuff, and they're not going to do that. Like he literally went to like a space vending machine. His suit was all torn up from the battle. And then he goes into this chamber or something alien place that was on Battleworld. And then he sees this thing that has like a lever, and he pushes the lever and it pops out this little ball of black that ends up being the symbiote, which is stupid. They're not going to do that. So that's basically how they introduced the black costume, though, if you hadn't never read the comics. They're not going to do it that way. That's just not going to happen. So Mark Ruffalo strikes again. And anyway, that's where we're going to end Minute at the Movies. I hope you enjoy this segment. I like doing it. I like talking about all the movie stuff. I think it's cool. And just going over some different things other than just the superhero stuff. Although a lot of the superhero stuff is incorporated, but I will incorporate a lot of the other things that I happen to be watching too. The Boys, also, by the way, amazing. Don't miss it. Amaze. By the way, if you haven't seen Project Hail Mary, oh my God, go do it. It's still in the theater. It's still doing well. It's over 600 million. I'm super happy. Supposedly there's a VR game coming out with it now. But if you haven't seen it, it best film I've seen this year so far. And I mean, I haven't seen many films this year yet, but best film I've seen so far this year. It's just so good. Go see it. If you want to read the book, do that too, because the book's excellent. So, all right, we're moving on. We're going to go to video games, and we're going to do some pixel perspective. We got Grand Theft Auto news, which we seem to get every week on this. Grand Theft Auto releases in 7 months. November 19th, 2026. Well, we shall see. We shall see about that one. Nobody knows for sure because, we hope. All you could say is we hope that it releases because, nobody's ever 100% with Grand Theft Auto. So we'll see. Let's see. Also in gaming, I don't have too much for gaming this week. Wolverine, releasing in 5 months. That's going to be huge for comic book fans. That's a time, right? So we're in April, May, June, July, August, September. Wolverine releases in September. Marvel Snap. That's going to be the time when people are going to be playing something else. For sure. And it's going to take players that play Snap, Rivals, all these Marvel games away because these games are huge. The Spiderman game was huge, and that takes people away. Now, granted, some players will probably finish this in like a couple days. But this one will definitely pull people away from the game, so they better be prepared for that. Let's see what else we got in gaming. I know I had... Oh, checking for stuff is always fun. I definitely have this someplace. Where are you? Where are you? I know I had you. Maximum Collection. So Marvel Maximum Collection, which is done by Limited Run Games, is now available for all the systems. Physical copy you can get right from them. It's available for Switch, PlayStation, Xbox, and Steam. So this is that one I was talking to you guys about, the retro one that has all the retro games. The X-Men, it has Maximum Carnage, Silver Surfer. I mean, this thing is amazing. $24.99. I don't know how much the physical is. I didn't look. But this is now available. So if you want to get your retro on and you're into Marvel and stuff like that, go pick it up. It is available now. You can get it in the PlayStation Store, which is where I'm going to get it. I haven't gotten it yet. I thought I downloaded it. I did not. I thought I downloaded it, but I had to wait to get paid. So I'm going to be picking it up on Friday. But go and get it. It's a very, very cool collection to pick up. So go and do that. All right, guys. Well, that's going to do it for Pixel Perspective. Not too much going on in the world of gaming. Usually when the next month comes out, that'll pick up. But before I get out of here today, I do want to send out a huge thank you. I got this from Spotify, that I got 50,000 streams and downloads, and that's just from Spotify. So that's not from Apple. That's not from any of the other places. That's not my YouTube page and all that. This is just 50,000 streams and downloads from Spotify. So huge shout out to all of you who listen to the show. Wherever it is, like I said, you may listen on Spotify or on Apple, wherever it is, or you go over to the YouTube page and listen to it there. I appreciate all of you for subbing and all that kind of stuff. I am a part of the Snap Judgments League of podcasts, where you can hear such cool podcasts as Snap on This with Lauren Whatevs, your host, It's Just Ree, and Benjamin Roller. They always have a great fun time on that show. They talk about many things. Ree talks about comics. Many times they'll talk about, they do their secret homework, which sometimes doesn't always involve Snap, but it's a great show. Check it out every single Friday. And of course, Glazer, wherever you find him, doing his podcast with some creators or doing his live streams on Twitch. One of the best guys I know in the game. Check out Glazer's stuff, Snap Judgments, wherever you want to find Glazer. That is where to look for him. And yeah, that is going to do it for this episode, guys. Thank you so much for listening. Remember to look out for the best 3 cards in Marvel Snap so you can pick your favorites. But that is going to do it for me. Thank you so much for listening wherever you may listen. Please stay safe. Be kind to one another always. And hopefully I will talk to you all on the next episode of Snap Decisions. This is your Snap DJ signing off.